inspecting brand new construction. Hasn't been lived in, it's a duplex condominium. And vinyl siding is probably the most common material being used right now in residential construction. And because it expands and contracts and moves around in the different elements of temperature, winter and summer, it will expand and contract. It is actually referred to as being hung, not attached tight. If you attach it tight, it's going to compromise it, warp it, you'll start to get rippling. However, you can see a lot of this channeling is extremely loose. It's missing a lot of nails throughout the perimeter of the home. Get right down here, this is missing nails. And there's no nail in there. All around this door opening. This side. Nothing holding that siding. Should get another piece of channeling in here to help secure that. And then this channeling, you can actually see the building wrap. They didn't even cut that corner very well. This one. Whoa, there's no nails. Nothing. I think there's one nail at the top. I can actually get the phone number off the Tyvek in there. Look at that, 448. Huh. Well, just an example of what it's like to inspect in the wintertime up here in northern regions. There's still a lot of things to look at on the exterior. And right now, this new construction has got a lot of loose channeling on the vinyl around the doors and windows. Let's get a closer look at this. So coming over to this side here, see down below, I mean, it doesn't look like much, but this is loose. Look at this channeling down here. Look at this. I don't even know if there's a nail in there. No, there isn't. This is just dangling. And then the way they cut around these corners here, yeah, this is, I don't think there's any nails in this either. That's not supposed to move that much. There's probably one nail. I'm looking at the building wrap right there. This is not tied in together proper. The back area here. It's not too bad. Again, it's totally missing nails. The siding is loose up here. This wasn't snapped together, right? Oh, it's gonna get snapped and tugged in there. Let's take a look up at this. Oh, this is missing nails in the siding too, isn't it? Totally. Yeah, look up in there. No nails. No nails. This is where the nails would go through, right here. No nails. Here's one. All right, got one. One nail. There it is. Here's the other one. Whoa. How about this one? This channeling is loose too. Oh yeah. There's missing nails. Totally missing nails. What's going on here? This isn't even cut right on the siding. That's the inside of that channeling right there. This house is missing a lot of nails.
Nail the siding a maximum of every 16 inches directly into the framing stud or furring, unless the manufacturer's instructions provide different fastening methods. Remember, always start nailing in the middle of panels. Always nail in the center of the nail slot, and do not nail tight. Leave about a 1/32 inch of a gap between the fastener head and the siding. When siding is nailed properly, you will be able to move each panel side to side. It's a good idea to check that panels can move.
Okay, now today's code requires a firewall between the garage and the house. And that fire barrier includes the door and the drywall. With the ceiling here, it's Type X 5/8 thick, and they do have the proper material here. You can actually see it labeled right here where it says Gold Bond 5/8 thick, fire shield, Type X. So it's the proper material. 1 hour barrier. However, it's installed improper. Let me show you in the attic. Okay, now I'm inspecting a duplex condominium, and there should be a firewall also between the units. So this gable end right here, this is the firewall to the next door neighbors, and this is done proper also. You can see it says fire rated system, so it's designed for it. But back to the ceiling of the garage, where it's installed improper is right here. This is where the two sheets come together. This sheet and this sheet. That's your seam. And they simply just put a 2x4 there. And it looks like they put screws in from the other side just to piece them two together. But if you experience drywall cracking on your ceiling, you'll know why, because the seams are not brought together. Here's another one. So they're literally taking these scabs of 2x4s and bringing them together. Your seams of drywall are supposed to land together at the bottom core of the truss or ceiling joist. So that's installed improper. The rest of the attic looked pretty good. Depth of the insulation. The roof sheathing actually had H-clips to keep the sheets separate on the OSB board. There is baffles down in the soffit vents. So there's other good indications of applications, but yeah, this drywall application was improper. Yikes. Now, aside from the drywall installation that I'm looking at, some of the other things on structural framing to the foundation that I'm looking at, this is very important down below here. So here's your actual foundation for the garage. This is referred as the sill plate, what was on top of the actual foundation. And you can see the foam barrier right here. And this is where the studs would connect to, and obviously go up and hold the wall above. But what I'm looking at here is these are the anchor straps. These are embedded in the concrete. When they first pour the foundation wall, they set these in here when that concrete is wet. And you can see this one here. And these are designed to wrap over the sill plate. And this is what holds your structural framing down to the foundation, are these straps. And this is probably most commonly in the last 30 to 40 years. And you can see the other part is on this side here. But these are improperly installed. These are supposed to wrap all the way around this plate. So these are not secured properly. Look at this. You can see this side, but you can't see the other. You have just one nail, maybe two. Yeah. Same with this one.
Before you begin installing an MAB, you need to know the plate size. For a 2x4 plate, you know that you've embedded the MAB deeply enough when there are 3.5 inches of concrete between the straps. For a 2x6 sill plate, there have to be 5.5 inches of concrete between the straps. In both cases, there has to be at least 3 inches of strap sticking out of the concrete for there to be enough strap to wrap around the sill plate and accommodate the required nailing.
Now the old school version, back in the 1980s, when I used to pour foundation walls, we used to use the bolts. And the bolt would go into the foundation also. And they're now starting to use those on the front gable walls of the garage. Now, before they poured the slab in the garage, they put a pitch to it, which is good, so that any water that rolls off a vehicle is going to roll out of the garage. And before they poured the pad, they actually put flashing And as you can see right here, you got the drywall, then this metal flashing, then they poured the concrete. And the reason why they did that is there's structural framing back there, and it shouldn't be in contact with water areas. So right here, it's gonna reveal it. This is OSB, and here's some more OSB. And they didn't want it in contact with the water area, so they put this flashing in here, which was good, but they didn't do it on this side. So sill plates are supposed to be pressure treated lumber, and that's what this is whenever it comes in contact with concrete members. And here you have it. Here's this pressed OSB, and as it tapers off, now we've got wood. So this wood is in contact with the concrete, and so is this OSB board, and it continues on. OSB, that's what that is, just underneath that plate. So they forgot to put the flashing in on this side here. I'm in the mechanical room, obviously, going over the installation. Everything looks like it was done proper here. Forced aired, 90% plus, high efficiency unit. All the components are here that should be. You have your gas shutoff valve within 6 feet of the unit. You have an electric shutoff switch within 6 feet of the unit. Air filter, this is your cold air return. Air filter blows through this area here. It's got a rack. So inside this area here is your air filter. And all air filters will have an arrow on it. Should be pointing to the furnace. That is the flow that it's flowing to. Now on new construction, I'm always looking to see if they did any duct cleaning, because a lot of times that drywallers are pretty messy, and you can see all this drywall dust is still in here. And so some of the other components that we have here is they now require it to be in a drain pan because they do produce condensation. Anything can leak actually with moisture, so you have the evaporator coil for the air conditioner. There's a drain pan in here. Sometimes it gets clogged up. So that's what this pan down here is for, is catching any condensation leakage on furnaces, especially when you're in a basement area like this. You don't want it to ooze and weep out. Also, you want it off the floor. So let's go inside the actual housing here and take a look. So the inducer fan is down below here. This is the exhaust, Schedule 40 PVC. This is your fresh air intake for the monoport burners. Flames need fresh oxygen. And down below is the blower for the forced air. Inside this area for the Bryant Carrier pane, we have the data information stickers on the inside of this blower box. And inside here, once again, we have that drywall dust. So this definitely needs to get some cleaning done in here. And if we pull that air filter out, probably we'll find more inside that cold air return. Oh yeah, sure enough. So I'm gonna recommend some duct cleaning. Look at that. Okay. Then, as I'm looking a little closer here, and I noticed that there was some stains, and we need to find out where and what's going on here. Now, the inducer exhaust area, sometimes there'll be some leakage, and condensation is inside the exhaust from the byproduct combustion gas. And if you look closely right here, you'll notice that the screw is rusted, and it's actually damp right on top. It's actually wet. So there is some current leakage, and it looks like it's coming from this fitting. Just needs to get tightened up a little bit more. You can see that bead of water right there. It's about ready to drip. Sure enough. So if this wasn't caught, it would just continue to drip, creating damage in the near future here. So always good to pay attention to some of these details. Even though it's brand new, there's still some simplicities here that can go wrong.